Ever feel like you're drowning in email chains just trying to lock down a meeting time with someone?
Oh, tell me about it. Between the endless replies and the Calendly links flying back and forth, it's like scheduling's a full-time job in itself.
Right. And what's funny is that tools like Calendly, well, they were supposed to make things easier, but this article I was reading on Flowworks about Alicia, your scheduling assistant, it makes you wonder if they're actually adding to the problem.
Oh, how so?
Well, they argued that just firing off a Calendly link can feel impersonal, you know? Like we're valuing efficiency over actually building relationships.
Yeah, I see that. It's like sending a generic holiday card versus taking the time to write a handwritten note. They both get the message across, but that personal touch makes a world of difference, especially in a professional setting where those small gestures can really mean something.
Exactly. And that's where Alicia comes in. Flowworks is framing her as this potential solution. So instead of just throwing your entire schedule at someone, Alicia curates specific time slots, making the process feel a bit more, well, human.
Curated scheduling, that's an interesting concept. Because it's not just about automation, it's about AI understanding context and preferences. Like imagine trying to schedule a meeting with someone who's a total morning person. Alicia could prioritize those early slots based on past interactions.
So it's almost like having a human assistant who knows your preferences and the preferences of the people you work with regularly.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just time slots, too. Alicia also uses something called natural language processing to analyze tone, which takes things to a whole other level.
Tone analysis. Okay, now you've lost me. How can an AI understand tone?
Well, think about how we communicate. We pick up on subtle cues in written communication, just like we do in person. Alicia can do the same thing. So let's say an email exchange starts off super formal. Alicia might suggest more structured meeting times. But if the tone is casual and friendly, she might offer more flexible options. Maybe even suggest grabbing coffee instead of a formal sit-down.
So she's essentially trying to replicate those unspoken social cues that we naturally navigate in person, but often get lost in the digital world.
Exactly. And the more data she gathers, the better she gets at understanding those nuances. Which brings up a really interesting question. How much of our professional interactions can AI actually handle while still maintaining or even enhancing that human connection?
It's like we're merging human interaction and AI. But it makes you think, what happens when things get more complicated than just scheduling a meeting? Like, what about those sensitive conversations where you need to maybe reschedule because of something personal? Can an AI handle that?
That's a great question. And as cool as Alicia seems, there are definitely times when nothing beats a human touch. Like if you have to reschedule because of a family emergency, a quick email explaining the situation is probably better than letting Alicia handle it. It's about knowing when that personal touch is crucial for those relationships.
It's a balancing act for sure, figuring out when to use technology for efficiency and when to prioritize that personal connection. But let's say we're talking about those everyday scheduling tasks. Are there any downsides to letting AI take over, even if it seems harmless?
Even with the best AI, things can still get lost in translation. Like imagine getting a meeting invite from Alicia and the time is totally off. You can always change it, but you might hesitate like you're messing with the AI's plan.
So we might overthink it, assuming the AI knows best even when it doesn't work for us.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we start second-guessing ourselves, putting the AI's efficiency above our own judgment. And who knows, maybe that could even spill over into how we approach other tasks, too.
It's like blindly following GPS, even when it's leading you astray. Sometimes you need a little intuition and common sense.
Totally. And that just shows how important it is to not depend too much on any tool. We need to remember, AI is just that, a tool. It's here to help us, not to control us.
So it's more about figuring out how to use these advancements to our advantage without just handing over control. Trusting our gut is still important.
Exactly. Finding that middle ground where AI helps us be better, not less capable.
Speaking of being better, this article claims Alicia is the future of scheduling. What do you think? Is this where we're headed?
It's a cool thought, for sure. A world where our schedules basically manage themselves and we can focus on the creative stuff. But I wouldn't say it's the only future, just one possibility.
It's like we're picking a path, right? Do we let AI run everything, or do we use it to make our own decisions even better?
That's the big question, isn't it? How do we use these tools without losing what makes us human? You know, our gut feelings, our creativity, that connection we have with other people.
It makes you wonder, though, what if AI scheduling went even further? Not just finding a time to meet, but planning our whole workday.
Now, that's where it gets really interesting. This article touched on AI analyzing not just when we're free, but how effective we are.
Like Alicia could say, hey, you schedule tons of meetings back to back in the afternoon and your productivity plummets. Why not block out some time for focus work instead?
Exactly. Or she might realize you're more energetic in the mornings and suggest your important meetings then.
It's like having a personal coach for your productivity who's also amazing at scheduling. We might not be there yet, but it feels like we're getting close.
We are. And as AI gets even smarter, we have to ask, what are we willing to let algorithms control in our work lives and even our personal lives?
It's exciting and a little scary at the same time, this whole dance we're doing with technology.
Definitely. But we need to talk about it because the choices we make now will impact how we work, how we connect, and how we define our relationship with technology in the future.
Well said. So to wrap up our deep dive into AI scheduling, what's the main thing you want listeners to take away from today?
I think the biggest takeaway is that tools like Alicia can totally change how we work. We can be more efficient, more productive, maybe even happier. But just like any powerful tool, it's up to us to use it right. Find that balance between what AI can do and what makes us human.
Couldn't agree more. Big thanks to our expert for joining us today and sharing these amazing insights.
It was my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we want to hear from you. Would you trust an AI with your schedule? What do you hope or worry about when it comes to AI in the workplace? Join the conversation on our social media and let us know. Until next time, happy scheduling, everyone.